What's going on, everybody? My name is Ben and welcome back to the Apollo group build here on Sci-Fi Wednesdays. We are pushing forward today, guys, on the Kelvin, and I wanted to go ahead and start here with the fiber optics because I want to try to see what I can do and see where the fiber optics are going to have to go before I go ahead and start stringing in the LEDs and start fitting all those. So I thought it'd be a good idea today to go ahead and jump in, start opening up some of these holes here with my macro drill bits and just see what I can do. Now, these look to be a little bit more squared off, but you know what? I'm not really too concerned about that. I'm going to go more for an artistic representation of the lighting here on the Kelvin. It doesn't look to be as accurate as I would like, so I'm not really going to worry about it. So we're just going to push forward today. We're going to cue a time lapse up here. We're going to start with the outer portion of the saucer section. We're going to open up all those little ports and see where we go from there. So let's do it. So as you can see, each of the side portions here on the saucer section has a back lip on it that acts as stability to go ahead and keep everything nice and rigid. So we actually have to cut that out in order to expose the areas where those lights are going to poke through. To do that, of course, we're just going to use an x-acto knife, nothing too fancy. I'm also kind of going through the process of using my very, very sharp, brand new x-acto knife blade, making a little bit of a dimple, and then coming back with my micro drill bit, 0.75 millimeter micro drill bit, and then we can just hollow it out and move on to the next one. So it's a little bit of a tedious process, but honestly, I think this is going to look pretty cool. Now, of course, like I mentioned, most of these windows are a bit more squared off, but they are tiny. We're talking 0.75 of a millimeter. So I'm really not too concerned about them being slightly different profile shape. I'm just going to go ahead and run them circular, honestly. I'm not really that concerned about it. Plus, at the distance with the lights on, I don't really know how much you're really going to be able to notice that they're circular instead of square, especially being so tiny. Again, my first time lighting a kit, so I'm not really sure how this is all going to go together. My very first time ever working with fiber optics, so we're just going to play it by ear. We're going to try it out and see what happens. Basically, this kit is kind of an initiation into the world of lighting, like Star Trek kits. So this is all new to me, completely in uncharted waters here. So we're just going to see what we can do. We're going to go step by step and just keep on trying. Now, I did actually start looking at a couple other areas here on the kit, and I noticed that some of the windows are actually not necessarily 100% molded, especially on the upper hull where the deflector dish and the rear shuttle bay are located. That area up there is not necessarily 100% mirrored on one side to the other side. The windows tend to be a little bit less pronounced on the right side than it does on the left side. I'm not sure why that is, just might be an error in molding, I'm not sure, but that's a little bit annoying. So I'm going to actually do something a little bit different with those. I'm planning on taking a little bit of super glue and we're going to fill in some of those windows, because if you look at the actual kit here, there's a lot of windows and I don't think there's that many windows on the actual Kelvin from the movie. So we're going to limit some of the windows, but we'll do that a little bit later. Let's push on with the saucer section and get this wrapped up. All right, so the saucer section sides are finished up and I think they actually look pretty cool. So now we're going to go ahead and just leave this right here. There are some fit issues we're going to have to go ahead and contend with, so a lot of work needs to be done on that. Also, we're going to have to light block the area too, because I don't really want to fool with light leaks all over the saucer. Now on the underside of the saucer, there are a couple of areas that might actually have lights that just poke through and illuminate just straight down from that saucer, but I don't know exactly. So we're going to leave it for now. We're going to go to the top of the saucer because these portholes are much easier to see. So there's the bridge, there's portholes around the secondary bridge area, and then that little step here where it goes down to the saucer, there's also portholes there on the back and the sides of them. So we have to go ahead and poke those out. Let's go ahead and grab our tools and get those done. Now, much like I did on the edges of the saucer, we're going to take my X-Acto knife. We're just going to cut off the raised detail for those little portholes. I'm going to take my 0.75 drill bit. We're just going to slowly work our way through that and open up those holes. I had one of my subscribers bring up the very good point that the LED that's mounted up inside the bridge might actually help to illuminate that front registry number. The very front of the saucer actually should have a light. In this kit, it doesn't have that, and I'm not sure exactly how much light we're going to be able to get reflected from the bridge viewfinder down onto the saucer. There is an actual recess, almost like a moat, around the center bridge. I'm not sure though with that step in it and the kind of recessed bridge itself. I don't know if we're really going to be able to do it, but we're going to move on. We're going to get all the portholes on that step all drilled out. We're going to move up then to the bridge itself and get all of those portholes done, and we'll move on from there, see what we can do. All right, everybody, so we have the portholes drilled out here on the step around the saucer. We also have the portholes drilled out right below the bridge. We're looking pretty decent on the top and the edges of the saucer. We're gonna go ahead and move on to the upper hull. We're gonna go ahead and check the windows on that and see what we have. Now there's this spine that kind of comes back off of the bridge and all the way to the back of the impulse engine. There are some windows right along the middle and along the rear side of this, and there are some longer windows up front. Now I don't know if I can actually drill out those longer windows, So we're not going to do anything with those. We're going to leave them be. But I am going to go ahead and work on the side windows here and see what I can do with that. But we're going to go ahead and just call it quits for today because it's taken me a long time. It's only been a couple of minutes for you guys, but for me, it's been hours here painstakingly drilling out all these individual portholes. So I don't really feel like doing much more. So we're going to go ahead and just call it quits for today. As I mentioned before, I have a little bit of issue with the engineering hole and the location of the portholes. I think they're not really mirrored equally on one side than they are on the other side. So we're going to have to go ahead and see that. I'm going to play around with it a little bit off camera and figure out what to do. And then we'll be back next episode to go ahead and finish off the rest of the drilling and move on from there. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. We will see you back here next week for episode number 4 for the Apollo group build and the USS Kelvin. Until then, everybody, go out there, get yourself some bench time, have some fun, and we'll see you back here next time on Sci-Fi Wednesdays. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you soon.